Picture this: a critically acclaimed talk show host with a successful show on a nationwide, if not globally recognized network has a normal night, opening with a monologue, a feature of every single show. Usually, the piece is written by a group of the show's writers, touching on current news events, pop culture, and politics. On this night, however, something would take place that would drastically affect the show and subsequently the rights of free speech. This was the case for host Jimmy Kimmel following the death of political commentator Charlie Kirk. On the ABC show Jimmy Kimmel Live, the monologue touched on this topic and the reaction of President Donald Trump in the following clip.
Was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition.
This joke, made at the expense of President Trump, led to his show getting canceled by ABC for insensitive and offensive remarks, claiming that these comments undermined the death of Mr. Kirk. Following a public outcry about the show, ABC made the decision to return Jimmy Kimmel Live to its slot. But the move by the company begs an important question. Was the cancellation a violation of Kimmel's free speech? Was Kimmel within his right to make this joke, or did he cross a line? What are the limitations of free speech? And what will the future of our First Amendment right as Americans be taken? The freedom of expression and free speech has been integral to our nation since the very beginning, defined as our First Amendment in the Constitution in the United States in 1791. Initially, it served to prevent the federal government from establishing a national religion, restricting free speech, press, and assembly. This right has adapted throughout time with the advancement of technology and does not serve Americans without restrictions. Many cases, both state and federal, define this path, one of which being Schenck versus the United States in 1919. This case took place during the First World War, in which Charles Schenck, the General Secretary of the United States Socialist Party at the time, paired with activist Elizabeth Baer, handed out flyers in protest of the war that urged young males to disobey the draft, but only in peaceful ways. Charles Schenck was arrested and charged with conspiracy to violate the Espionage Act of 1917 by attempting to cause insubordination in the military. This case was taken to the Supreme Court with one simple question. Was Schenck's right to free speech violated by his arrest? By unanimous court decision, they ruled that his right was not violated, and they established the clear and present danger test. If speech posed a threat of creating significant evil, then it was not protected under the First Amendment. Similarly, in the case of Brandenburg v. Ohio, a leader in the Ku Klux Klan was arrested following a speech that violated an Ohio criminal syndicalism law that banned advocating for crime, sabotage, violence, or unlawful means of terrorism. After being taken to court, it was ruled that this was a violation of his free speech, and it created a set of factors that helped determine unlawful speech. These factors were split into two parts. 1, speech can be prohibited if it is directed at inciting or producing imminent lawless action. And 2, if it is likely to incite or produce such action. The act in Ohio made advocacy and teaching of the doctrines illegal, but ignored whether or not the advocacy and teaching would actually incite, as it said, imminent lawless action. Now, this touches on two important pieces of free speech restrictions: intent and likelihood. Speech that was intended to produce imminent lawless action can be prohibited when paired with the likelihood of this event happening. So when a protest takes place, statements like "resist the government" are allowed. But if someone were to say, "let's burn down the White House," that's not. Shifting to our modern day, evidently, free speech is on the mind of many Americans, both young and old. As protests have become increasingly prevalent in the past year due to ICE deployment in large cities, The right to protest and speak freely is an issue that concerns many Americans. Take, for example, former Marine and UPS employee Alejandro Orellana. Alejandro, like many Americans, attended ICE protests in Los Angeles and handed out face shields to prevent protesters from tear gas, rubber bullets, and any other kinds of violence against them. Following this, last June, federal FBI agents blocked off his street, entered his house, and arrested him on conspiracy, a federal statute typically used for organized crime and civil disobedience. Listen to the following clip of Alejandro describing his arrest.
No, that's what I was commenting to these agents, is that, this is ridiculous. Like, why are you coming after me when there's other people out there that are much worse? And, what did I do? I just handed out PPE to people that were getting tear gassed. But to them, that's serious. Like, it really shows that they just want to, they want to pepper spray people. They want to shoot people with rubber bullets, and they don't like it when we utilize tools.
Later, after a major public outcry both online and in the city of Los Angeles, these charges against Alejandro were dropped, but not before harsh criticism from the media and intense holding conditions. Alejandro was exercising his right to protest, protecting fellow protesters, and he was arrested for it. This action by the government gave a lot of light to the topic of freedom of expression this summer, and it seems as though this subject has been at the forefront of conversation since. In an article released in April from the Morning Edition on NPR, the topic of free speech in Donald Trump's America was touched on, stating, "Some student activists are afraid that participating in protests could lead to deportation. Teachers are nervous about a new online portal where students or parents can file complaints about diversity, equity, inclusion lessons in class with the U.S. Department of Education." Interestingly, this point of view pertains primarily to actions that criticize the government, and in the same article, it's contrasted, stating that advocates against abortion and Republican protesters feel as though their opinion is valued more than ever, when it says, "Yet plenty of others, including anti-abortion activists, the far-right activist group Moms for Liberty, and members of the university Republican clubs, say that they feel more free today to express views without fear of backlash now that President Trump is back in office." In a country where expression has been such a fundamental piece of our history and been epicentral to how so much has been created, why is it that some feel as though their opinion is heard, seen, and validated, and others feel as though they need to keep quiet for their safety? Does a nation that values some opinions over others still have the right to call their speech free? Or has this taken a new meaning to our country and its citizens? Free speech has never been considered as consequence-free speech. And is the answer to the question just that? That the actions from some who see this as oppressive have violated the speech restrictions already in place by law? This topic is deeply multifaceted, and it relies on an understanding of the issue from multiple perspectives to find a solution. In a nation as polarized as ours, it can be difficult to know how it's even possible to do this. To find our solution, though, we need to look no further than our friend Mr. Kimmel on his first monologue the night of his return. Take a look at this clip.
Something about it to make your voices heard so that mine could be heard. I will never forget it. And maybe, weirdly, maybe most of all, I want to thank the people who don't support my show and what I believe, but support my right to share those beliefs anyway. People who I never would have imagined, like Ben Shapiro, Clay Travis, Candace Owens, Mitch McConnell, Rand Paul, even my old pal Ted Cruz, who, believe it or not, said something very beautiful on my behalf.
I hate what Jimmy Kimmel said. I am thrilled that he was fired.
Oh, wait, no, not that. The other part.
But let me tell you, if the government gets in the business of saying,
what you
we
can and
don't
can't
like
say,
what you, the media, have said, we're going to ban you from the airwaves if you don't say what we like, that will end up bad for conservatives.
I don't think I've ever said this before, but Ted Cruz is right. He's absolutely right. This affects all.
Kimmel took this opportunity to highlight the opinions of those who disagreed with him politically and disagreed with his statement, yet still shared the belief that free speech is an important part of our nation and is our fundamental right. To find our solution to this issue, we can build off this understanding between one another. The freedom of expression will continue to be a highly debated topic, and there is no doubt that cases will continue to surface regarding it. But through this understanding and faith that we can build a nation where free speech lives without unnecessary restrictions, the future of expression can be bright.